Or do you have something?
We already talked about it.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Alisal Union School District Board of Trustees meeting. Thank you for being with us today, this Wednesday, June 28th. We're going to call this meeting to order at 5:31 p.m. And our board clerk is not here just yet. So Mr. Koenig, would you please do roll call?
Mr. Mercado,
Present.
Mr. Ocampo, Mr. Jimenez,
Present.
Ms. Garcia,
Present.
Mr. Ocampo is absent.
Okay, and I'm here. I'm here.
Yes,
Okay.
okay.
Thank you. Mr. Koenig, would you please lead us in Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you very much. So we're still on number one, opening items. Mr. Koenig, do we have any spotlights that you're aware of?
There are no spotlights.
Okay, thank you so much. That was D. We're going to go on to E, adoption of the agenda. And before we move forward, we're going to pull item 8B. So I need a motion to adopt the agenda without item 8B.
I'll make the motion to adopt the agenda, calling out item 8B.
Thank you, Mr. Mercado. Second is Mr. Jimenez. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries 4-0 with one being absent. Now we'll go on to presentation A, 2023 results on local indicators state dashboard, Dr. Hernandez.
Good afternoon, President Gilpas, Barrera, Mr. Koenig, board members and community. I'm Monica Anso. I am the Associate Superintendent of Educational Services. Today I'm here with Dr. Hernandez, and he'll be presenting on the local performance indicators. So a few meetings back, I actually presented on the California dashboard and the priorities. There are 8 priorities that we use to write the LCAP that the state requires. Today, Dr. Hernandez is going to present on those priorities where we locally collect data.
Thank you, Ms. Anso. Good evening, President Gilpas, board members, Mr. Koenig, and community members and colleagues present tonight. As Ms. Anso indicated, we are to present and share with you information related to our district performance on the state dashboard. One of the requirements is for us to present information collected locally related to performance and obtained through a variety of surveys that are not necessarily academic. The academic results are presented on the state dashboard, and they stem from results on the state assessments, mainly the SBAC in ELA and math, and the LPAC for progress made by English learners. So today is more about perspectives related to the work we do internally and the perceptions from our stakeholders that connect with the work we do and that are reported on our local control accountability plan, or our LCAP, which is on the agenda for approval tonight. So as a requirement under LCFF, we are to collect information locally, like I indicated, uh, and evaluate from that information the progress we're making with information that our stakeholders are offering us as they engage in our work. So priority number one has to do with whether we have appropriately assigned teachers, whether students have access to curriculum-aligned instructional materials, and safe, clean, and functional school facilities. And that is measured through the process called the Williams Review, which takes place at designated sites every year. So what we are to report based on that priority is the percentage of teachers that were misassigned, if any, in support of English learners, the percentage of students without access to standards aligned materials, and the number of instances where the facilities did not meet good repair. And in all those, we received a 0% because none of those were issues for ALASAL. We had no misassignments in terms of teachers. All students had access to materials that were standards aligned, and the schools were in good repair. Priority number two has to do with our own self-reflection related to the implementation of state academic standards. And we are to rate our local progress in providing professional learning for teaching related to the standards. And we're supposed to rate ourselves locally, and we do this in collaboration with our department leaders in the areas of English language arts, in English language development, in mathematics, and science and history, social science. And you can see that a majority of the areas are at 4 and 5 in terms of full implementation or full implementation and sustainability. But there's a couple of areas that are at initial implementation, mainly science and social science, because we have not had the degree of professional development intensity as we have with the other three. The next one is rating our local progress in making instructional materials that are aligned to the academic standards and the frameworks from the state. And in all those areas, we have a score of 5 because we do have materials for all areas that are in alignment with the current state standards and frameworks. And we are at full implementation and sustainability. The next one is our progress in implementing policies or programs to support staff in identifying areas where they can improve in delivering instruction aligned to the recently adopted academic standards or frameworks. And in that area or that priority, which is part of priority number 2, we have an overall rating of 3, initial implementation. The next one is rating our success at engaging in the following activities with teachers and school administrators during this past school year and summer. And we are at full implementation with identifying the professional learning needs of groups of teachers, of individual teachers, and in providing support on the standards they have not mastered. With this one in particular, we work closely with human resources. And for example, in the area related to individual teacher needs, we have our coordinator of HR, as well as our new teacher on special assignment in support of new teachers that are specifically looking at needs of teachers individually. The next area has to do with family engagement, priority number 3. And we collect information in terms of how parents feel welcome and included in participating in activities that are taking place at their sites. And we obtain that information through our annual parent survey. And we collected some of the results here in building relationships. Majority of the ratings were at full implementation. In terms of developing the capacity of staff and whether our environments are welcoming and the progress in supporting staff to learn about family strengths and developing multiple opportunities to engage in two-way communication. So those are in full implementation for the most part. In building partnerships for student outcomes, the overall rating is pretty much at full implementation. And those are all related to whether we include our families with information on the programs and the policies that are in place to support partnerships so that they're connected with understanding how to support student outcomes. The next section is section 3 within family engagement, whether we seek input for decision making. And we have several advisory committees or several advisory groups that help us with decision making, including DLAC. Some of our parents who are present here have supported us in providing us feedback related to priorities that are included in the LCAP and on the development of policies in support of staff and students. So all these are related to whether we ask our community for their ideas before decisions are made, and we have processes to support that. Priority number 6, related to school climate. The results here stem from surveys administered to students, parents, and staff. In this case, we have a couple of the scores reported by parents. 90% report that they're aware a counselor is available to support their children if needed, and that they feel welcome to participate in their child's instruction. And about 86% of teachers reported that they're aware of how to support social emotional needs. So these are some examples of the questions that are asked and the results obtained on these surveys. There are many, many questions, but we included a sample to report for you tonight. Priority number 7 is whether our district provides access to a broad course of study, and whether our district students were enrolled in programs where their parents made the decision about the type of instruction they would to receive. And 100% of our parents selected either English only, structured English immersion, one-way, dual immersion, or newcomer. So they were the ones that through the enrollment process at initial registration make that decision. 100% of our students had access to instructional time, and then all schools were provided intervention to students to address needs determined by staff during, among others, student study team meetings, cost meetings, which are coordination of services team meetings, and or IEP for students with special ed needs or students with 504 plans. So the last slide included here is just a point to note that last year we received scores related to this presentation that were at standard met for the local indicators that I just presented to you tonight. Last year, we're supposed to submit the results after presenting to you once the state opens the site for us to enter our results. And we gave ourselves the standard met. However, it took place after July 1st. And there is a window of time where that has to happen before July 1st. So we received notification that because of the fact that it happened after July 1st, they will have to change that standard met to standard not met for the local indicator presentation. So it did happen, but it happened August 2nd last year. So that was a technicality that is causing that score to be adjusted. Having met the requirement for 2023, this year's dashboard will show met when you see the dashboard in December for 2022-23. And with that, I will entertain any questions you may have.
We'll turn to board members. Mr. Mercado, do you have any questions, or you want me to come back to you, or? you're
I have
okay?
questions.
Okay,
Mhm.
please.
So what can we do, Dr. Hernandez, at this point? You know, it's going to show the standards not met. Is there anything that we can do to remedy that?
So no, it will show standard not met because we didn't meet that deadline before July 1st. So if we would have presented like this time last year when the LCAP was being approved, it would have said standards met. But because we're not we didn't meet that deadline, it will say now it'll be changed to standards not met. So anytime anybody goes and does a research on the district and they put the year 2022, it will always be standards not met.
You also mentioned that there's 8 priorities in the LCAP. I only see 7.
Say that again?
And it was mentioned that there's 8 priorities for the LCAP.
Yes.
And the presentation only had 7.
Yes, so the priorities presented today are just the local data that's picked up. Last, was it June 7th when we presented on the LCAP? And then when I presented on the dashboard a few months ago, I presented priority 4, 5, which is the academic, the EL growth, and then 6, which is the climate, which is on suspension. So I presented those 3 already.
Thank you.
Mr. Ocampo? Mr. Jimenez? Ms. Garcia?
Just one comment. I mean, where it says school climate priority 6, I think when it says 90% of the parents reported that they were aware counselors available and 90% of the parents and 86% of the teachers, is that, I know 90% of the parents didn't respond. So maybe we should be writing in 90% of the parents who responded to the survey, because these percentages are so misleading sometimes. Sorry, but yeah, because at this point, I don't know how many responded. It could have been 100 and maybe 90 of them responded.
And
We
so
have-
that's a good point. I think it's something we can adjust and say,
Yeah,
out of the 2,000
Yeah.
surveys that were turned in, this is what it said.
yeah, because that makes more sense. And because I mean, anybody that looks at this might think, oh, I got 6,500 parents to respond to the survey and 90% of them really, they knew that there was a counselor. But the other way, if you're presenting it this way, it could have been 100 and only 90.
Yes.
So, yeah, in the future, maybe add something like 90% of the parents responded to the survey or whoever else did. That's the only comment I have. The other, well, just on the standard not met status, is just standard not met for actually providing the board with the presentation? Or is it standard not, what does standard not met mean?
No, the presentation was provided to you,
Right, but late.
but it was provided to you after July 1st.
So,
And
Well-
then the technical thing here with regards to
Mhm.
whether it's standard met or non-met is just because of the fact that it happened after July 1st. The presentation to you on 21-22.
so we're not meeting a standard or not presenting the presentation in a timely manner.
Exactly.
Okay.
Based on the required deadline.
requirements. All right, thank you.
Thank you. I have a few questions. So, and I was gonna ask that same thing. What did it mean? Because now, if somebody was to look online and looked at LSL, it shows that on these 5 local indicators, out of 9, is it, or 7? Oh, there's 8, excuse me. LaSalle Union School District did not meet the standard because, and I heard you say, Dr. Hernandez, we did not present it to the board. Why wasn't it presented to the board? Because to me, this seems like it's something big. I mean, we see parents here at every meeting. We see a lot of parent engagement. So let's say somebody is looking online and say, oh, I want to see if I'm going to enroll my students in LaSalle Union School District. Let me see how their parent engagement is. Then it says, wow, they didn't meet the local indicator because they didn't present to the board. Who didn't present to the board, and why wasn't it presented timely? And that note is not to be upset at anybody, or I'm not fishing there. We're just trying to be transparent here to our community that we serve. Whose responsibility was it to present this to the board, and why wasn't it? I think that's a fair question.
So the presentation was given to you, but it was separated from the approval night. So it was done afterwards. And when I go in and turn in our score, It happens when they open the site for us to enter our result. That doesn't open until around September time. So we always look at when are we supposed to enter our score with the information and result. That usually doesn't happen until September. And then the technical part was that while it was presented to you, and perhaps there is a way for us to indicate, because there's language beyond this that shows the detail, indicating that the presentation was provided to the board. And maybe I can ask if they allow an adjustment to indicate, it indicates standard and met because it took place after July 1st. But it was provided.
Okay, so whoever was supposed to turn that in, I don't know who. You, Mrs. Anzo, Mr. Koenig, I don't know who. It wasn't turned in. So because of that, we, the Alisal Union School District, all of us, is that we didn't meet our standards on 5 local indicators on the dashboard, right? The way we're seen by our community, right? On parent and family engagement, on implementation of academic standards. I know you said this is not, these local indicators are not measuring academic success, yet it's tied, everything is tied to student achievement. If we made a mistake, we need to say, sorry, let's move on, and let's not, all of us together, share it and not let this happen again. Because for it to show that it sounds like all the work the teachers did, all the work the parents have done, everybody with our school climate, all these surveys, we didn't meet the standards. And we just got good news for this year, and I'm glad we're doing it on time, correct? Because we're doing it now. So I think somebody needs to, and I'm saying we know it's we, it's not you on your own, but I mean, we owe this community a standard met if we met the standards, and not because of human failure to submit information to the board, because I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair to the district. But I may be alone in my thoughts. I'm not sure, but I know that it's a hard job, but it's very disappointed that happened. We're in a district right now where our enrollment is declining. It's declining. So all we need is for people to, or families that are moving to Salinas, to look at our indicators, and we didn't meet them, and they say, oh no, I'm not gonna go here. They didn't even meet their standards. I'm gonna go to Salinas City. And then it's going to affect us financially because the state gives us money. And we don't want that, because we need that to educate our students. So thank you for facing us. It must not be easy to do that, but we need to be transparent. If somebody made a mistake, needs to be said, you know what, we messed up. I mean, and we all do at times. But it doesn't seem like there's an excuse for this, because it's our job to do things in a timely manner so that our district and our students don't have to have these. It wasn't just one local indicator, it was 5, almost all of them. So we have to be honest here. We have to be transparent with the community. And we have a very loving community in the Alisal. Well, we want to work together. Nobody's going to hang anyone for making a mistake, but we also have to be honest and fix it and not let that happen again. And that's what I wanted to comment. There's more, but I won't say it. I think that says it all. Thank you for being with us tonight, and for your presentation tonight, and for doing the 2023 dashboard local indicators on time for this year. Appreciate that. We're going to continue on to presentations. B, project and program overview, proposed district performing arts center. You like that chair, huh, Ms. Anzo? Thank you. Mr. Abbasi.
I'm waiting for Clemente to open it up for us.
Good afternoon again, Board President Gilpaz Barrera, Mr. Koenig, Board and Community. I'm here today with my colleague, and we're here to share better news and share a project that we have that we think that is been a long time coming. And we'll start off with what we are presenting. I have to give credit to Mr. Abbasi because he came up with this, a culture gem in our community. A performing arts center will be a state-of-the-art venue to inspire students. So we all know that we have our students get invited to participate in parades and to perform for other events. So we want to make sure that our students also have a place so that it can be within our community. And so this will have the live performances, and then it comes with a lot of equipment that they have, the instruments, costumes. So we want to make sure that they're stored safely and kept, and they're all in one location. So again, it's promoting the arts in the AUSD. We hope that you like that we added some color, some cultura, in showcasing our ALISAL students. We have our Mariachi Juvenil, Alisal, our Folklorico, our drumline, and our color guard. And with the passing of Prop 28 and having the integrated of arts, we're hoping to have, in addition to the performing arts, some of the visual arts as well.
Good afternoon. So we had a long time vision. Mr. Koenig described that to me when I started my job, that we need a performing arts center. To make that happen, we need two basic things. We need a location, space, and we need money. Fortunately, we have both at this time. So now is the best time to move in that direction. When we talk about the space and the location, Monte Bay Elementary School, this is the aerial view of that space. We have about 6,000 square feet of space available there. That was meant about 10 or 12 years ago for a preschool or a kinder facility. But now I think it can serve this location as a performing arts center. This picture and the next picture, that just shows the location of that idea that we have in mind. It's a nice location. Enough parking space is available around Monte Bay Elementary School. It's one of the largest spaces that we have in the school districts. So that becomes the ideal space for this kind of performing arts center. Next picture, that is just a diagram and design of Monte Bay Elementary School that has been in place for quite some time. That shows, I think my cursor can move here. That shows this space that we can use for this black box performing arts center. In the development of idea, now I give credit to my friend, my colleague, Ms. Anzo. She came up with this idea that we should have something called black box. Some other cities, some other areas have this concept as a performing arts center. So then we started looking into this idea. We did some research. We engaged our architects, in-studio architects, to come up with some more ideas. And they have been doing some research. So next, some pictures are going to show you what we have in mind. This is just an empty black box, a performing arts center. The beautiful thing about black box is it's flexible. We are going to have flexible seating. In this case, performance in the middle and seating on both sides. The seating, the chairs can be flexible, movable, or they can be fixed. In this picture, they are fixed, but we are thinking about movable or removable chairs so we can have based on the need that we have. Another picture of what we can rearrange and arrange and configure. This shows performance in the middle seating all around, but this one is not going to have flexibility of movable chairs because these seats are fixed and they are elevated or sloped chairs. That's not what we have in mind. Maybe in sometime in the future that can happen, but for now, this is our idea. Chairs that can move and be removed based on the performance. They can be round, circular, or any configuration. Another picture. This is seating all around and performance in front. It can be like a speaker giving a speech. Another idea. Picture of the same idea. In this case, there's a stage in front, and that's a fixed stage. In our idea of a black box, we're not going to have a fixed or elevated stage. We're going to have movable, removable, or any stage that can be rearranged as we need. This is very much what we have in mind. No stage or no elevated stage, but we can create a stage if we need that. Another area for performance. Again, empty space. Stage and audience. So in our concept, we also want to add a control room that we can use for lighting and sound effects or sound systems. That's a flexible idea that we may or may not have in place. Next thing is timeline. In today's meeting, we are going to present you a proposal from InStudio Architects for the design services. If Board of Education approves that, we are thinking that we can make it happen by April 2026. Now, the timeline when we are dealing with facilities and construction is always flexible because there's so much approval process from DSA and other agencies. It's always a moving target. But we think that April 2026 is doable. We have spoken to our architects and they agree with this timeline as well. Funding, that's the next big thing. We have received in 2022-23 about $2.4 million in one-time block grant money. It's called Music Arts Block Grant. We can use that money. In addition, we can use 3.6 million from supplemental concentration money. That is very appropriate use for this purpose. Altogether, this project can cost roughly $6 million in today's dollars. This funding is available to us, and I think we can make it happen. So this is our concept, our idea, our timeline. Now we are able to answer all your questions. In addition to myself and Ms. Anso, we also have Alex from InStudio Architects, and he's also available to provide any technical answers to questions you may have.
Thank you. I'm going to start with Mr. Jimenez. Ms. Garcia.
Yeah, very innovative, right? I think the black box is not a new concept, but it's something new to like elementary schools. You know, I don't know any elementary school that has a black box. I see it more in colleges, but you know, and maybe this is just me, and maybe just me because I parked at different places. But sometimes when I've gone to Montebello, I've seen some issues with parking. I mean, I've had to go around and around. I couldn't park inside the actual Montebello parking lot because I'm not an employee and I didn't want to take anybody's spot, you know? I didn't want to park in the principal spot and I didn't want to get my car towed either. So, I mean, I had to go around and around a couple of times to find myself a parking. Will there be sufficient parking for people to come to this center, or has that even been a question? Once again, this is me going during the day, visiting the school, and just having a really hard time finding parking.
That was one of the points of discussion that we had. And we're thinking that all the performances are going to take place in the evening. At that
Mhm.
point, all weekends, yes.
Mhm.
At that point, there would not be any staff using all the parking spaces. So this becomes available for community.
Okay, so, well, I mean, I'm gonna say something about parking, right? Because it is, I think in every school, there's concerns about parking. So I don't know, will there be any parking around that little black box, or is that it? The black box right there in that corner and
This
that's
has
it?
about 6,000 square feet of space. About 2,000 is going to be used for storage of all the instruments and uniforms and other things. 4,000 square feet is available for performance itself, or
What
performing
about
arts
going
center itself.
under for parking?
That's the reason we have Alex here.
I mean, there's a lot of buildings out there and the parking's down underneath the basement. I'm just throwing out parking because I mean, there's places where it's so congested that it's very hard, especially on the neighbors if you live there.
Point well taken.
That's
But
all
we,
I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Mercado, perdón.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. What's the estimated capacity of people that could, the black box hold? Have you thought about that?
I think we were thinking in the beginning like about 200 people or less. It's not going to be a very big, very large space. It's elementary school location and venue, so it's not a very big center. When it comes to performing arts centers, there's no limit. I mean, it can be $50 million facility, or it can be a $6-7 million facility. Keeping in mind the needs that we have in this community, performing activities that Ms. Anzo just described, I think 100, 150, 200 would be, I think, the target audience.
And how was Montevilla decided to be the place to have this building? How was it decided to have it at Montevilla?
Really, it's the only place we could put it. There's no other location on an existing school site for the facility we envision. Montebella, as Mr. Rabasi said, has this pad that was prepared during construction that it will never be used for the purpose for which it was prepared. It has two other pads, so it's the only site that has existing capacity for us to build.
Was further?
Yes, I'm looking at the number over there. The amount of people allowed in this building itself is what, 400? 402, 402, so 200. So I would imagine it'll be half the size of this place.
I'd say that we're talking about half the size of this room would be the performance area and the actually it'd be a little bit bigger, probably 3/4 of this for the stage and the audience area. Right, yeah, there would be a room for the performance and then room for the audience.
So this room here, you think about the basketball games that happen, right? That's a performance. So they're here, there's not a lot of seating for parents. They sometimes sit on the stage, they sit around, but there's not a lot. So what we're planning, it'll have more room, the way it's going to be built for parents to sit and watch the performance.
Thank you. Mr. Ocampo?
Yeah, just a comment. I just want to say that I'm glad that they're using the 2.4 million from the Music and the Arts grant to build the building. Because if we were to use it for any other thing like programs, those programs would be gone. But the building is a permanent fixture. So I'm glad to see that, you're kind of looking at sustainability, right? Because the money's not going to be there forever, right? So taking the money, building a building that will be there permanently, I think it's a great idea. So I applaud you for that. I had a question. Oh. I forgot my question. Anyway, what was the question? The phone call kind of got me off my train of thought. I'm curious, will the facility be available like for rent for nonprofits and such? Are you looking at that? Is that a possibility or?
So to answer that, all the facilities that we have,
Sure.
they all fall under Civic Act. So we have to be able to rent out those facilities to our community if they are available. Availability is a big question. Otherwise, all the facilities paid by tax dollars, they have to be available to public if they are available under Civic Center Act.
That's good to know. I'm curious, because I know I saw there were different designs. And I'm a little, I guess the question is, are we going to pick one of those designs in the future? Or does a room lend itself to be remodeled? Or how does that work? I'm not clear on that.
So currently it's a brand new concept. So we are thinking with a very basic idea that we are not going to have a fixed stage. This
Oh.
should be a removable stage. We are not going to have fixed seating. We just want a space, which was the very first picture that we shared with you. It's an empty room, nothing inside. Based on the performance, we can rearrange the seating. If it's a
Okay.
dance performance, we need large space for dancers, so we can have seating all around. If it's a performance, if it's a debate, we can have seating of different things. We are not going to have elevated or sloped seating. We are going to have flexible and removable seating. We do not have fixed stage, but we do like idea of having a control room, so we can have lighting and sound control.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I only had a question. Have because it is going to be offered to the community, right? But mainly it's going to be used for student performances, but like Mrs. Anzo said, sometimes on the weekend. Who is going to control until what time? Because if I was a Montevilla resident, I would say, wow, there's going to be banda there till, 12 midnight. And that's something that I wouldn't be interested in supporting because it's a neighborhood. How are we going to control that?
So the way we have guidelines for use of facilities, for all facilities, including our grounds, when soccer league uses our facilities, we have guidelines from this time to this time you can use. These are the limitations and restrictions. We are going to have similar restrictions and guidelines for use of these facilities. They are going to be approved by Board of Education. Of course, Board of Education has the highest authority to approve all guidelines.
Right. So my question, I guess, how are we going to include the Montevilla community? Would it be through school site council? Maybe some of the parents that have questions, or they would come here about that, or how are we gonna-
Although we are going to select Montebella because Montebella has available space for this kind of performing arts center, but this facility belongs to the district, LSL Union School District. So the central office, the district office is going to control the activities. The kind of activities, the timeline, performances, all of that have to be approved by administration. And those are going to be ultimately approved by Board of Education and administration.
So we're not gonna have nothing like Woodstock 2 or anything like that, right?
If board approves it, yes, otherwise, no.
Okay, thank you. It sounds like a great plan. Thank you. Thank you very much. Alex, did you say the architect is here? Thank you. Thank you for your work. Okay, finished there with our presentations. Moving on to public comments concerning items on open session agenda and or non-agenda items. The guidelines are that there's a 2-minute limit for individuals. You'll hear a little, that means time's up. But you can, if your time finishes, you can email us or call us. Our phone numbers and emails are online. And we will only have a 20-minute limit on total public comments, and there's no ceding of one's time to other individuals. Individuals wishing to address the board on open session agenda items and other items may do so at this time, starting at 6:16 PM. And I'm gonna start off here with Mr. Jose Guerra. And I think there's 3 of you, so are you all gonna take the 2 minutes, or you're just coming up together? Okay, and one of you will speak, is that the idea? Okay, thank you, welcome.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jose Guerra. I'm a Montebella community resident. Been there 18 years. I have with me,
My name is Antonio Rábago. I've been in Montebella for 13 years.
My name is Domingo Sánchez. I live in Montreal for 16 years. Yo se lo voy a hacer en español. El día 28 de mayo había más de 200 vehículos ahí, cuando nomás tienen 32 espacios. Entonces, lo que pasa es que no usan el lado del estacionamiento de la escuela, usan este lado de acá. Entonces, yo vivo en la mera mitad, entonces los que van ahí a jugar se orinan y tenemos familia y es algo ridículo. He hablado con José Antonio, el de la mesa directiva, nomás hablé 2 veces y ya nunca me contestó la llamada. Entonces, yo pido que ustedes hagan algo. Se orinan.
Yes, so May 28th, there was about 200 cars that were parked and there's only 32 spaces. And the thing is that they were at the school, instead of parking in the school, they parked in our neighborhood. They park in the other half because of course, there's a lot of people that come to see the game. And the ridiculous thing is that they come, it is a neighborhood, but they pee in our neighborhood. And that's not acceptable. I've talked to Jose Antonio from the board of directors twice. He never answered me again, but I really need something to be done to, address this issue.
We have requested a meeting with the board because we have met with Superintendent Cohen, his assistant, George. We have come to terms, but the contracts have always been violated on the meeting we had and we all agreed upon. The soccer, the Salinas Adult Soccer Club, they play soccer every Sunday till whatever time they want. Our agreement in our last meeting with Mr. Cohen, assistant, and George, we had agreed that on Sunday, they would play games from 9 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The Adult Soccer League, they play soccer till they want to play 8, 9 o'clock at night. There's no parking there, and we want to know why they don't park their vehicles in the school grounds, not in the city park, 30 parking stalls.
the only concern I had with that was that when I walk my dog during the day, I don't mind people using the park. It's a public park. It's good. It's there for everybody. I understand that. But please, if you're gonna drink liquor, park your car on top of the grass. Please be mindful. There's little kids there. They drink, they leave the garbage everywhere. I've had my neighbors here have to pick up garbage bottles, empty beer bottles, empty soda cans, food from Carl's Jr., McDonald's, etc. Be mindful, it's a public park. We live there. I don't know if any of you guys do. I wish you did so you can see what's going on. If not, come by on a Sunday, you can see what's really going on there. And we've also addressed it to parking enforcement, and they haven't came by. Finally, we had a city meeting yesterday, a Montebella community meeting, which is really good. It worked out. we let them know and we address that issue. But that's all I really have to say, and for people urinating in front of somebody's house, I mean, if you're gonna have the soccer games and things like that, why don't you put some portables out there for these people to use the bathroom? Because 2 bathrooms or
Your
4,
time's up, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your comments.
no problem.
Thank you. María Parra.
Buenas tardes, mesa directiva de Alisal. Mi nombre es María Parra y mi compañera Norma Villalobos. Estamos aquí representando el proyecto Vida del Condado de Monterrey dentro de la organización de Beauty Healthy Communities Comité de Padres Unidos. Nuestro comentario el día de hoy es para agradecer y reconocer la importancia de la colaboración entre proyectos, organizaciones y distrito. La pandemia marcó la vida de todos nosotros y el proyecto Vida pudo reducir la muerte de muchas familias de nuestra Alisal. Gracias a la Escuela Franco, Centro de Recursos Alisal y Centro de Recursos MOK por haber unido esfuerzos en esta colaboración humanitaria. Gracias también al liderazgo de ese entonces la doctora Porneo, que nos abrió la puerta para cubrir a las familias y estudiantes de Alisal. Esto refleja el poder y humanidad que todos podemos lograr al unir esfuerzos de colaboración dentro de nuestras familias y prioridades de la salud académica y social. Entregamos estos certificados a centros de recursos para familias de Alisal en nombre de Proyecto Vida del Condado de Monterrey y Comité Padres Unidos de Beauty Healthy Communities por haber demostrado humanidad y ejemplo de lo que es servir a las familias en una emergencia emergente del momento. Gracias. Seguiremos estando aquí para seguir uniendo estos esfuerzos de colaboración para el bien de nuestras familias y estudiantes de Alisal. Gracias de nuevo y atentamente representante Comité Padres Unidos y Proyecto Vida, María Parra y Norma Villalobos. Gracias.
Good afternoon, Board of Directors of the Alisal District. My name is Maria Parra, and I'm here with my coworker, Norma Villalobos, and I'm here representing the Project Vida from the County of Monterey within the Organization of Building Healthy Communities and Padres Unidos Committee. My comment this day is to thank you and acknowledge the importance of the collaboration of these projects, organizations, and districts. The pandemic marked our lives, and the Vida Project was able to reduce the amount of deaths that the families in Alisal suffered. Thanks to the school, Frank Powell, Resource Center Alisal, and Resource Center MLK, because they united in our efforts with this humane collaboration. Thank you also to Dr. Purnell. She opened the door and helped us serve our families and our Alisal students. This is just a reflection of how much the power and humanity can get together, and united, we can all give priority to health, social, and academic aspects in our community. I give the certificates to the Resource Center of Alisal in name of the Proyecto Vida, Monterey County, Comité Padres Unidos of Building Healthy Communities, because they demonstrated example, humanity of what it is to serve the families in an emergency moment. Thank you. We are going to continue here, uniting our efforts and collaborating for the well-being of our families and the students of Alisal. Thank you again, representatives of the Committee Padres Unidos, Proyecto Vida, María Parra y Norma Villalobos.
Thank you. Muchas gracias. Pásale. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. That's very nice. Thank you. Miss Alma Loredo is next.
Buenas tardes, miembros de la mesa directiva, presidente, superintendente. Mi nombre es Alma Loredo.
Yo soy miembro de algunos comités de este distrito y también soy organizadora con VHC, Comité de Padres Unidos. Hoy quiero tomar la oportunidad de agradecer al Distrito Alizal por su disponibilidad de colaboración y de escuchar las necesidades de la comunidad y responder a ellas, porque un ejemplo de ellos es el Centro de Artes que está planeando ser construido. Esta tarde mi comentario es acerca del plan de LCAP. Queremos asegurarnos que las necesidades que trajimos a ustedes se vean reflejadas en el plan. Queremos sugerir que en la meta 3, acción 3.7, se aseguren que la meta hable de contratar personal que sirva al distrito y no solo contratar los servicios de enfermeras, porque esto refleja la respuesta a las necesidades de la comunidad de tener enfermeras en nuestras escuelas. Meta 4, acción 4.4. Vemos que habrá días extras para dar capacitación al personal clasificado y queremos sugerir entrenamientos que sean con la filosofía de la cultura cura, porque esto va a dar las herramientas necesarias para un mejor apoyo en lo socioemocional del niño y la familia y que son culturalmente relevantes. Meta 4, acción 4.8. Habla de dar capacitación a los líderes escolares para incrementar el involucramiento de padres y comunidad. Les queremos sugerir que se inclinen en organizaciones que son expertas y que están conectadas y conocen a la comunidad. Estas sugerencias vienen de nuestros procesos de escuchar a los padres en la comunidad y queremos seguir apoyando al Distrito Alizal a que cada vez sea más fuerte. Y esto solo se va a conseguir involucrando a los padres, que también somos los expertos y los socios más importantes para el éxito de nuestros niños. Con respeto. Gracias.
Good afternoon, members of the Board of Directors, Superintendent. My name is Alma Loredo, and I am a member of some committees from this district, and I'm an organizer with BHC Committee Padres Unidos. I want to take advantage of this opportunity to thank the District of Alizal for all their collaboration and availability and listening to the needs of the community and to respond to them. One of them is the example of the performing arts that you are planning to build. This afternoon, my comment is about the plan, the LCAP plan. We want to make sure that the needs that we brought to you are reflected in the plan. We want to suggest that goal 3, action 3.7, you make sure that that goal hires staff that can serve the district and not only hire nurses, because this is going to reflect the answer of the needs of the community to having nurses in our schools. Goal 4, action 4.5. We know that there's going to be extra days for training and classified staff. We want to suggest that those trainings be with the philosophy of the cultura cura. This will give these trainings the necessary tools so they can give better support to the social, emotional wellness of the child and the family. Goal 4, action 4.8 talks about giving trainings to the school leaders and increase the involvement of parents and community. We want to suggest that you prefer organizations that are experts and that are connected and know the community. These suggestions come because in our processes of listening to the parents of the community and to continue supporting the District Alizal to be each day stronger. And this is only going to be able to be achieved if the parents are also involved, because we are the experts and we are the most important associates for the success of our children. Thank you so much, Alma Loredo.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Adriana de los Santos. You can start while she's passing them. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Conan and Board of Trustees. My name is Adriana de los Santos. I am the chair for the Monterey County SELPA Community Advisory Committee. I am here today to share wonderful news. The news is, the news was shared with the SPED administrator on Friday, May 26th. LSR USD has a stakeholder who is interested in joining our committee, and we would be excited and honored if she joined us. Her name is Ms. Dani Lucas. I want to thank Mr. Conan for promptly responding to my email. Unfortunately, no one else has gotten back to me. I understand the SPED administrator intends to do a parent meeting early next year to have a parent selected for this committee. Is this a new policy? And if so, may we please have a copy? And how can we ensure this process does not become burdensome to the parents? I would like to ask that we take the opportunity that is in front of us and engage the parent that is interested and ready to collaborate. The packet in front of you has information regarding the Community Advisory Committee. And towards the end of the packet, you will find an invitation letter for the parents that was shared with LSL USD on November 5th. Allowing Ms. Janie Lucas to participate will correlate with board goals 2 and 6, parent and community involvement. The district will cultivate a caring and inclusive relationship with the community, engaging all families as active participants in student learning, communication. The district will establish transparent and respectful communication with its employees, parents, and community at large, and ensure that efficient systems and practices operate throughout the district. And finally, the board vision. We are committed to the success of each student and to the involvement and improvement of our community, holding high expectations and striving for excellence. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Perfect timing. Thank you very much. Next, we have Janie Lucas.
Good afternoon, Board, Superintendent Koenig. The reason why I'm here is because I am interested in running for SELPA Board. And I wanted to make sure to come to the Board of Trustees to find out what do I need to do, because I've already contacted Mr. Jaramillo on 3 different occasions. I've spoken to Ms. Monica Ansel, and I have gotten no response on what exactly needs to be the process to be able to run for the position. Since January 18th, I've been waiting.
Okay, so we cannot, if that's the end of your, is that the end of your comment? Okay, who's going to call Ms. Lucas to explain the process?
I'll call Ms. Lucas tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Ms. Lucas, the superintendent will answer your questions. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
We will continue on, but we will end public comment at 6:34 p.m. Association comments, LSL Teachers Association. Thank you for being here, Mr. Pastoriza. California School Employees Association, CSEA Chapter 577. Is anybody here from the United Substitute Teachers Union? No? Thank you so much. Going on to board member reports. I'm going to start here on my right. Mr. Jimenez, do you have anything to report? Ms. Garcia? Mr. Jimenez, I want to keep changing your name. Mr. Mercado?
Thank you, Ms. Gilbert. Yes, I just wanted to share that Mr. Koenig and I visited a few of the sites last week. We went to Montebello Elementary School, where I got to see many of our students being taught how to sew clothing with actual sewing machines. I haven't seen a sewing machine in a long time, so that was nice. Went to the Family Resource Centers, both for LSL and Frank Paul. I'm glad to see that they're working hard for our community. And I'm looking forward to our new managers coming in July to work at Family Resource Center. So I can't wait for that. And at Frank Paul, I saw a lot of positive things. The maintenance workers were already taking off the bathrooms at Frank Paul. Those bathrooms have been there for quite some time, and I'm glad that they're going to be getting new bathrooms. I don't know the time frame for those, but I am excited that they'll be getting new bathrooms. So I just wanted to share out to the community.
Thank you, Mr. Mercado. Mr. Ocampo? I don't have anything to report either. Mr. Koenig?
I have a couple of things to report. Number one is I've visited Frank Paul and I visited all the school sites and I've seen a lot of work being done. We have dozens of projects going on this year and most of them are making great progress, but at Frank Paul, we're not making as great a progress as we want. The replacement of the bathrooms at Frank Paul is going to be much delayed by the fact that we found unexpected conditions as we were demolishing the interiors of the 2 student bathrooms. And so we're going to have to, we have had to completely demolish those buildings rather than rebuild them. And so we're going to have an interim solution of portable bathrooms, which they won't be porta potties. They'll be regular, the semi-permanent bathrooms that we have in several places at the school, in the district. But we will have a solution for bathrooms for the kids when school opens up in August. There has been a second hiccup in the project at Frank Paul, and I'm going to be trying to coordinate a special meeting with the board as soon as possible. There's a need for a change order to the Frank Paul restroom and playground remodel project, and this deals with the demolition and reconstruction of the pavement of the playground. The original contract with Selden and Sons, the price was $1,193,390. The size of the proposed change order is $237,225. An unknown condition was discovered this week when the old playground asphalt was removed. The soil is pumping, that means that it moves under the weight due to a combination of the composition of the soil and the presence of groundwater. The solution that's been proposed is removal of a few inches of the current soil base, compaction of a replacement, which would be crushed rock, and then the pavement. This change order will require board approval as soon as possible in order for the playground to be in place before school starts on August 7th. And I recommend the board conduct a special meeting as soon as possible. And I recommend the time be Monday, July 3rd, 2023 at 4 p.m. or as soon thereafter as practical. And I'll contact the board members afterwards to find out their availability. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Koenig. Moving on to consent agenda, approve, ratify contracts, MOUs, agreements, grants, proposals, conferences, workshops, and field trips. A, approval of consent agenda. This is an action item, but we will be tabling item J for future discussion and possible vote on the July 26th meeting. So tabling item J, I do need a motion to approve the rest of the contents of the consent agenda. Ms. Garcia?
I'll make a motion to
Thank
approve the
you.
consent items.
Seconded by Mr. Jimenez. Any questions, discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to business services. Action item A, adoption 2023-24 budget. May I get a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Mercado?
Second.
Second made by Mr. Jimenez. Are there any questions, concerns by any of the board members? No? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. B is also an action item, resolution 22-23 year budget transfers. This is also an action item. I need a motion, please.
Make it. Oh, go ahead.
Ms.
Mrs.
Garcia,
Mrs. Garcia first.
Oh.
I'll second.
and then seconded by Mr. Jimenez. Are there any comments, questions, concerns by board members? No? I'll call for the vote, please. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? None. Motion carries 5-0. So still under business services, item C, action item, resolution 223-24, education protection account.
Make a first motion.
Mr. Jimenez makes the first motion, please. May I get a second motion? Ms. Garcia? Thank you. Any comments, questions, concerns by any of our board members? No? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Motion carries on a vote of 5-0. Continuing on, 6, business services, item D, action item, resolution 2223-25, interfund borrowings. May I get a motion, please?
Make the motion.
Mr. Mercado makes the first motion and the second.
I'll second.
Mr. Ocampo, thank you very much. Any questions, concerns, comments by board members? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item number 6E, this is an action item, resolution 2223-26, local reserve cap. Motion, please.
Make a motion.
Mr. Ocampo.
Second.
And seconded by Mr. Jimenez. Any questions, concerns, comments by board members? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposition? No. Motion carries 5-0. Educational services, item number 7. A is an action. Adoption of the local control and accountability plan, the LCAP for 2022-23. This is also a motion, action item. Mr. Jimenez makes the first motion. Is there a second? Thank you, because we need one. Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Comments, questions, concerns by board members?
Just had a, I guess, I don't know if it's a question. Could be a comment. I'm not really sure.
Could be either.
Could be
Thank
either, yeah.
you. You're
I'm
welcome.
just kind of, I guess, reacting to some requests that we got from Building Healthy Community during the last public hearing that we had on the LCAP, where they were requesting either health clerks or, I don't know, possibly nurses, possibly health clerks, I don't know, in every school. And I know we were looking at this, but I'm curious, like, where are we in that? Or, I mean, we're approving the LCAP tonight. If we actually put clerks in every school, does that happen outside of the LCAP, or do we amend the LCAP, or how does that work?
Could you
That's-
review the process briefly,
that's my
Ms.
question.
Sansol? Thank you.
Yes, so when we presented the LCAP, we said this is the 3rd year of a 3-year plan. So we've just been doing annual updates. So if you look at the board cover of the board agenda, we did state that we're looking into, we'll be studying for the next school year, bringing in any staff. That'll require a staff of 12. I think it's really studying what we have in health services and what our parents are asking for. We have to review all the data that we're receiving from all our stakeholders. So that includes our teachers, our classified staff, our community members, our management, and also our parents, and see what the trends are. So that way we can see where we change some of the plans. So next year, when we write the plan, it's going to be a new 3-year plan. We can see where do we have to cut, because right now all the money was allocated. So where would we have to reduce the budget or cut a position in order to afford 12 positions that could be close to $1 million?
So it's being looked into
Yes. and
possibly for the following year.
If we get to include it into our LCAP.
the
So
LCAP. Okay.
what you see there in our, if you were to look at the LCAP goal 3, you see there's some nursing services that are provided for our consultant for our care plans. So we currently have a district nurse and 4 LVNs. So their main responsibility is to, one, work with their care plans and any of the needs our students have. And sometimes they need medication to be administered, so our LVNs come in and do that. So that's that's part of our health program. So I think it's worth understanding how our health services work in the district and who's in charge of what and what we really want to see at the schools. And then plus, we also have our community school coordinator who just started with us last in May. So part of our community schools will be turning one of our schools into that service. And where do we want to spend our energy? So that's something that we have to spend the time and look at.
Okay. The other question, comment, I don't know what it is. Building Healthy Community had, I think, also two other items that they had talked about. And I thought I saw in one of the emails we got from our superintendent that some of our cabinet was going to meet with Building Healthy communities to listen to their concerns. So I just want to verify that that's sort of in progress. That's like moving forward. Yeah.
So on Friday, we have a meeting with our team. So Mr. Koenig and I will be meeting with them Friday at 3:30.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Then.
Ms. Garcia.
So I just wanted to comment that I'd like to see more parent participation in the LCAP. I think we've seen that the surveys, and I think I made maybe a comment last time that, even though I think there was about 1,200 parents surveyed. If you break it down, that's only 2 schools, and there are 14, right? So
We have both brick and mortar.
13, okay, 13 schools. But I mean, it seems like on paper, 1,200 people surveyed sounds like a lot. And don't quote me because I don't remember if it was 1,200. It might have been more. Maybe it was more like 1,500. Who knows?
I don't know the number.
But it was an amount where I said, okay, wait, that's really only 2 schools. And so we really need to increase the amount of parent participation, giving us feedback. What do they really want? There's at least, you said 13 schools, and if you multiply that out by maybe the average school, 500, that's a lot of parents that could actually give us feedback and let us know what they really want, their concerns. So my only comment is I'm hoping that we increase the amount of parents willing to give us information so that we do our due diligence and put items in place for the LCAP.
And I just want to say that in addition to the surveys, we do have LCAP meetings at each school. So there's also questions and we get their feedback as in participation for our meetings. Our parent group helps us to try and engage more parents. We had a community meeting as well. And that's another way to engage parents. So it's not just the feedback that we use from the surveys, but it's the feedback we collect through the LCAP meetings.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
So we do have a motion by Mr. Jimenez, a second by Ms. Garcia. If there are no more comments or questions, we'll go ahead for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposition? No, motion carries 5-0. Moving on to item 8, Human Resources. A, this is an action item, request for new position, occupation therapist. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Mr. Ocampo, second by Mr. Jimenez. Questions, concerns by the board members? Ms. Garcia,
I
please.
just have well, it's not even a concern. It's just, I'm happy to see that there is going to be occupational therapists offered if we are able to secure those positions, because I know it's hard to get. And I think our district or other districts are tired of having to source out for these people. And I'm glad to see that our district is making that commitment to actually hire occupational therapists, because there's a lot of need. Thank you.
Thank you. So Mr. Ocampo made the motion, Mr. Jimenez made the second. I'll go ahead and call for the vote here. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries 5-0. So we pulled B, we'll go on to C. Action, request for new positions, extended learning program specialist. This is an action item. And we're adding. Okay, so we have a blue sheet and the main purpose of the blue sheet is stating, could you state that for us?
The
Mr.
purpose
Koenig?
of the blue sheet is to clarify the number of full-time equivalent employees that we're asking the board to approve. As it says in the background at the bottom, these folks are going to only work 21 hours a week. So this is not 84 extended school program specialists. It is 84 part-time extended school program specialists. The total number of full-time equivalent employees is 44.1. And that's clarified in the blue sheet.
Thank you. So with that change there, I need a motion to accept, please, or to consider.
So moved.
Mr. Jimenez, thank you
Second.
so much. Who's second, Mr. Ocampo? Thank you so much, Mr. Ocampo. Any more comments? Yes, Ms. Garcia.
Sorry. Okay, so just maybe somebody can clarify. So let's just say I have a classified employee that wants to apply for this position and they already work 8 hours in the day. How many more hours are we talking about? Do they get time and a half after 2 hours more, or how does that work?
So it wouldn't be our 8-hour classified employees because they get off at 5. So this would be more of our 6-hour.
Okay.
And that's why we actually, the title is different. So I can be a para educator, can be a para 2, but in the after school program, if I'm hired, then I'm an extended learning specialist.
Okay, so it doesn't like, they don't get like time and a half after they
No,
worked
because it's a
9
different
hours?
position.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So we have a motion on the floor made by Mr. Jimenez, seconded by Mr. Ocampo. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any in opposition? No? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Moving on, still in Human Resources D. This is an action item, job description, second reading, teacher on special assignment, professional learning community teacher. May I get a motion?
So move.
Mr. Mercado,
Second.
Mr. Jimenez seconds that. Questions, comments by board members? No, Ms. Garcia, it's okay.
It's not that,
We love hearing from you.
no. Thank you, Ms. Gibbs. No, so we only are asking for one. Is that person, is that true? It's only one, right? One, or is this just a job description?
Yes, this is a position that's been filled by a retired person for the past 4 or 5 years. And they've been working as basically as substitutes. And this is the position that does the professional development, does the planning for what we've called grade level release teachers up till now. And we have identified a need for a full-time employee to do this work. So we're asking the board to approve the job description for a new position for a full-time certificated employee.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Mercado, second by Mr. Jimenez. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, motion carries 5-0. Still under Human Resources, item E, action, revised job description, grade level release teacher to professional learning communities. Substitute, may I get a motion, please?
I make a motion.
Mr. Jimenez? Second? Anybody? Thank you so much, Ms. Garcia. Comments, questions, concerns by board members? None. We'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, motion carries 5-0. Continuing on to F. This is also an action item. variable term waivers for the 2023-24 school year. I need a motion, please.
I'll make a motion.
Ms. Garcia makes the motion.
Second.
Was that you, Mr. Jimenez?
Yes.
Mr. Jimenez makes a second motion. Comments, questions, concerns by any of the board? No, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. Moving on to administrative services. A, discussion and possible approval of employment contract with Rais Abasi for employment as Associate Superintendent of Business Services from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2026.
So move.
Mr. Ocampo makes the motion,
Second.
second made by Mr. Jimenez. Questions? Is there anything we have to read out, Mr. Koenig? Mhm. Should we have Mr. Abasi stand up?
Yes. Read out the pertinent parts of it.
Okay, the superintendent, this has to be done publicly. We'll speak on the pertinent parts of the contract.
The term of Mr. Abasi's contract will be July 1st, 2000. I'll need to,
He's gonna do it on his computer. We ask for your patience, please. Oh, Mr. Mercado saved the day. Thank you.
The term of Mr. Abasi's new contract is July 1st, 2023. It ends on June 30th, 2026. His salary will be at step 5 of the Associate Superintendent salary schedule, will be $195,137 per year. He'll receive that's his final step. He shall receive a $500 per year compensation for the fact that he has a master's degree. He will have a cell phone allowance of $40 per month, an automobile allowance of $500 per month. And those are the pertinent parts of his contract.
Thank you, Mr. Koenig. Are there any comments, questions by board members?
Yeah, just want to say that I think Mr. Abasi has done a great job, and I'm happy that he's on board with us for another, what is it, 3 years, I think? 3 years. So,
Yep.
so congratulations.
I'll congratulate you after the vote, okay? Ms. Garcia, anybody else? Mr. Jimenez?
No,
any
I
comments?
think I echo what you just said. I think we've been pretty fortunate that he decided to come back to Alisal, and had this vacancy, and you've been here, and I think all of us are very happy with your work. Thank you, Mr. Abasi.
You always come in with a smile. You're in a good mood. You do such a great job, and it's such an important job that you do, is taking care of the kids' money. That's big. And with the help and assistance of our superintendent and your cabinet, we're very pleased, and we hope you sign your contract that, yes, you want to stay with us for another 3 years. Thank you very much, Mr. Abasi. And like I said, I will wait for the vote before I say congratulations, okay? Thank you. So all those in favor?
Oh, I'll make the motion.
Oh,
Yes.
well, we have a motion already by Mr. Ocampo, and we have a second by Mr. Jimenez. So actually what we need at this time, thank you though, Mr. Mercado, we need the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0, you're in. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Did you want to say anything, Mr. Abasi?
I think that's a privilege for me to serve LSL and the children and community of LSL School District. I'm really lucky to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, still under administrative services, we're gonna go on to B. It's an action item. We're gonna amend the 2023 regular board meeting calendar. Can you briefly state, just remind the date change, Mr. Koenig?
Yes, during a board meeting in,
Oh, I'm
in
sorry.
May.
First, let's make the motion to discuss it. I'm sorry. That was my mistake, not Mr. Koenig's, my mistake. Motion? Mr. Jimenez, second?
A second.
Mr. Mercado? Okay, now, thank you, Mr. Koenig. Now you don't want to talk?
Now, yeah, well, okay, during a board meeting in May, we changed the date of the July 19th meeting to July 26th to give the Human Resources Division more time to line up our personnel needs, in particular the teachers for the beginning of school, which starts, the first day of school is the 7th of August. When we did that, we created a situation where the first meeting in August is only 1 week after the meeting on July 26th. So what I'm recommending is we move the first meeting in August back one week, and we will have 2 board meetings in August separated from the previous board meetings by 2 weeks each. And this will give staff the ability to prepare the meeting more effectively, and I think it'll be easier on the board. So that's the recommendation.
Thank you. So we have a motion by Mr. Jimenez. Mr. Ocampo, you made the second motion? Was it the second? Okay, that's all right. I wrote your name down. Okay. Okay, thank you. So I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries 5-0. So 10, we have our future agenda items. You know, at our last board meeting, we had like 4 presentations and they were quite long. So superintendent and I had a discussion on, we won't do that again, hopefully. There's things that we have to cover that are legal. And sometimes we have to have those, but we don't want to go more than 2 presentations. That way it's not too hard on our audience that comes or on anybody. It just goes on too long. So I'm not going to read them. They're listed here, A through F, what our future agenda items will be. And then we're moving on to 11. Public comments. This is on closed session agenda items only. A, the guidelines, there's a 2-minute limit for individuals on public comment and a 20-minute limit on total public comments. There's no ceding of one's time to other individuals. Individuals wishing to address the Board of Trustees in closed session agenda items may do so at this time. Starting time is 7:03 p.m. No comment? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and adjourn to close, we're gonna end, excuse me, at 7:04 and adjourn to closed session at 7:04. We'll have a 10-minute break and we're hoping, please, that the board members be in the closed session room at 7:14, please. And let's be conscious of that so that we can start and end on a timely manner. Thank you so much, and we'll go on.